What are we talking about today? Oh yeah, I said why you don't want to grow your business. Makes me laugh. I see it quite a lot. People going about growing their businesses. And what really prompted this was I saw a post from Ant, actually, our mate Anthony Manson. He was quite rightly saying that, if you got to watch your overheads and things. And if you don't, you get lots of cash flow, but if there's no profit in there, you are deeply fucked, which is absolutely true, of course, And I would say to a lot of people, because one of the things they say when they get in touch with me, both through our business and also privately, is, they want to grow. And I always, my first question is, are you sure about that? Why? What actually you want to grow? And what it actually comes down to is they want to make more money. Mm-hmm. Well, if you do that by just growing, say you make 10% margin on everything, just for the sake of argument. So for every grand you put into a job, you walk away with 100 quid profit, just for the sake of argument. I mean, it is more complicated because you've got fixed overheads, you've got variable cost of sale, all that kind of shit. But let's just say on average, over a year, for every grand you put into a fucking job or the business, you get 100 quid out profit. To double that, you've got to do twice as much work. That's growing. And then, of course, you get these step changes because, maybe you get to a point when you need to buy another van or take on another employee. All of a sudden, that eats up an enormous amount of the profit because there's too much business for, say, two blokes or one bloke. Yeah, just say one. There's too much work for one bloke, but not quite enough for two. So while you take on a second person, and then while that person's underemployed, you're actually subsidizing them. So, your profits go up in a sawtooth like that. But what you find at the end of the day is, the end of the year, you might have doubled your profits. So instead of 10K, you made 20K, but you've worked at least twice as hard, possibly more, because of this period. That's growth. And as some brands have found, in particular that fucking online shoe one, I always forget what it was called, uncontrolled growth is effectively like cancer in the human body. It can destroy you because you've got this massive business and it might be profitable, barely, but the thing is, it's so big, it's absolutely and utterly susceptible to cash flow problems. You've only got to hit one tiny little hiccup and everything falls apart. I have to wonder at some of these big chains, for instance, I think it was WH Smith. I'm not saying they've got problems, but I think they were valued at something like 400 million some years ago. And their biggest bill, of course, is their wages bill, which is gigantic. You imagine how much that is. It's a vast amount of money. So they need to have a fucking huge churn of cash every month to pay the bills. Mm-hmm. Well, something like COVID might come along, and all of a sudden footfall just dies off, and they could be real shit. Now, I'm not saying that Smiths are in real shit. That's just an example. But a business which is desperate, has massively high overheads, and is desperately dependent on cash flow. When that cash flow is hit, and as it can be, they're in real fucking trouble. So, really, we should be looking at what we call scaling, where you actually increase the profits rather than increase the volume of work. And the key to that, quite simply, is margins. And the easiest way to increase your margins is, well, there's two ways. There's one is to decrease costs, either your fixed costs or your variable cost of sale, and increase your prices. That's it. It's that simple. And of all those, in many ways, increasing your prices is the best way to go.